Ignite to Run the City, no cap rap news, bro. We back with another one. Salute to the stop, man. I be saying the shot by mistake, but salute to the stop. They got the action right now, man. We got Camron says he exposes Joe Budden podcast that they ain't real friends, man. Now, if you look at it, you can tell that they ain't real friends, at least people outside of Parks, Ish, and Ice. You know, the rest of them, I don't know. You know, they kind of put on now. Queen's Flip and Mona now. I don't know, but let's see where you're going with this, man. Let's hit the transition to get into it.
First of all, the people that I work with is genuinely my friends, like really my friends. I don't think none of them is Joe Budden's friends, in my opinion. When I seen it, it seemed territorial. It seemed like Queen Flip is being territorial because he was there before Lamont and probably don't like Lamont being there. Me, let's say it's people in this room. I'm not going to let y'all fight each other. Not on my watch, no. I can't, I'm not going to let you do that. As friends, no.
Camron airs out Joe Budden and says that he doesn't have real friends on the podcast. I think he even insinuated that none of them are really cool. And this was on his podcast, not the It Is What It Is podcast. This was, I believe, Talk with Flea. And this is but another chapter in the two men that were rappers with big hits that now always seem to find a way to beef with each other around this time. And it all started because of the Mark Lamont Hill Queen's Flip argument.
Because when you say that, I take that as disrespectful.
There's a lot of you said that we take disrespectful, but for the
sake of you said I take disrespectful.
They were breaking it down on Camron's show.
Hold up. Now, just because you have heated debates and arguments with people don't mean it ain't your friend. You know what I mean? I'm sure everybody, that's how you kind of know your friends, if y'all can go through some arguments and have, you know, passionate discussions about stuff, and then y'all still cool with each other. You know, that's how you definitely know you got a friend. And most of the time, you ain't even gonna take that step if you don't think that they're your friend anyway. You know, that's just my opinion. Not saying that about Mark Lamont Hill and Queen's Flip. I think they're cool, though. You know, I don't think it was too crazy or nothing that was, it's kind of being blown out of proportion if you ask me. But let's continue, man. And with Camron and Joe, I don't know what's up with them two dudes, man, but let's go.
And Camron just pointed out how, it seems like there's a weird dynamic on the Joe Budden podcast where nobody is really as close as they appear. Now, this is something that I have broached a lot in my videos. Like, I do think they are friends to some extent, but the general sentiment to me is that they're more co-worker friends than actual friends. And I believe that Camron is insinuating that that is problematic. But, I mean, Camron also himself has had issues with people who used to be his friends, most notably Jim Jones and even Mace, who's on his show currently. Now, there's been other beefs between Camron and Joe Budden.
Now, that's a good point, because that's what I'm saying. You and Mace been having beefs and fallouts and damn near close to shootouts and all kind of shit with each other for writing diss records and shit. And look at y'all on the show, same show, having a blast, laughing too much. I can't watch it because they giggle too much for me, but that's beside the point. But are y'all real friends, or it's just for the show, it's for the bag? You know what I mean? Sometimes, even when you don't get along, it got to be bigger than that. It's about the business, you know, so look at yourself, for example, man. Good example. The Stop. I don't know dude's name. I'm just going to say The Stop, but let's go.
Most notably, an incident in April of 2023 where Camron would post a clip from the Joe Budden podcast saying, "Damn, Nori, told you I couldn't trust you. LOL, I'm just effing with you. But what other rapper from the 90s got the sports show cooking? You know you my dude for life, but your man Ho Buttons threw you under the bus the very next episode. Said he didn't know who you was talking about. I don't give a F how his numbers is. NO, stay away from that crackhead." Now, this was because Nori and Joe were talking about rappers who...
Ho Buttons is crazy. Jeez Louise. Then he said, stay away from that crackhead. It's kind of weird, man. I think everybody just throwing shots at Joe because Joe is the top podcaster in the black area. You know what I mean? So it come with the territory, man. The more, I'm sure everybody gonna go through it, man. If you get on top and you got that spot everybody want, then they gonna throw shots at you, man. It just is what it is. Let's continue, fam.
Podcast, and they were poking fun at them.
You know what's crazy? I'm looking at these rappers trying shows now because, rappers from our era, and they are so failing. Yo, isn't it great? It's great to see it's great to see people fail. Yeah.
That's hate.
They do sports shows.
But Joe Budden would respond by saying, now that dude know he too sensitive to do this with me. Chill before I feel like playing back and you start making calls again. Focus on your suits and pink set. That crackhead lapped you long ago. Then Camron would post a DM of him responding to Joe Budden in that very same post of a DM, and he would say, you right, I ain't gonna play with you. Where you at? And that would kind of just show that these two guys, they don't like each other. They have been pretending. Well, I don't know if they've been pretending. I think Camron has mostly stood silent on Joe, and Joe has bigged up Camron's show, but he don't really rock with him, you can tell. Plus, there was also that whole incident with Melissa Ford. Remember when Melissa Ford would make statements hinting that Mason Camron, when they were telling this story about them being in a Lady of the Night house, how there could have been young women there.
Considering what just came down the pipeline, all these sexual harassment and assault lawsuits and stuff like that, is there a distinct possibility that there may have been underage girls in that whorehouse?
Come on now!
That's disgusting what you doing.
Yeah,
That's
don't do
crazy.
that,
Well, Camron would fire back at Melissa Ford, trashing her.
Y'all see me in suits too much and got me f***ed up, man. You're not even from this country. I don't know what the f*** was going on in the houses in Canada or wherever you from.
And the Joe Budden podcast didn't really hold her down. I guess rightfully so, because she had kind of talked out of a place of misinformation. But hey, it was just another chapter in the podcast versus podcast war.
Yeah, then Cameron also had wore some jeans with Melissa Ford's face over the crotch area. Pause. And that was kind of, I don't know what he was insinuating. He said some other stuff that I ain't gonna, y'all just go discover that stuff on y'all own time, but let's keep going, man.
These two guys have going on. As to what else is happening between Joe Budden, there was also another comment made on a recent episode of the Joe Budden podcast. I want to be clear. I am not at all sure that this was about Camron. I don't even think it was about Camron. But Joe Budden goes on this whole spiel about how he wants to fight podcasters and a lot of them look flabby and sick.
And you podcasters look flabby and sick. I quit smoking and I'm in the gym 3 to 4 times a week. You look flabby and sick. I'm with all the
I don't know who that could have been about. It could have been about a lot of people. It could have been about random math, Papa comments. It could have been about this comment Camron made. But the truth is, when you kind of do these vague shots, it leaves it up to interpretation about who the shots are for. And I truly believe that I think it was for the field. I don't think it was about Camron. But I, in my heart of hearts, think that Joe Budden doesn't like Camron one bit. And
That part I don't think was about Camron. It could be a lot of people that he talking about. Again, I kind of think it was just about everybody that's taking shots at him in the podcast space, period. You know what I mean? That's what I think. But you never know with they be doing a lot of subs and shit, man, at each other. And I don't like that shit. If you go diss a nigga, just go on and say the name and go on and have a battle with him, and don't pussyfoot around and get to the point and be through with it. That's how I look at it.
Camron doesn't like Joe Budden one bit. I really think that in this rap game, a lot of people are pretending to rock with Joe. Like they saw him as some clown who had a big hit, then fell off. and then started doing this thing called podcasting, which at the time made him a laughing stock, but would eventually put him on par with every rapper in the game because his podcast made a lot more than a lot of rappers' careers. So now people have to deal with him as a serious player. But the truth is that a lot of people see him in a different light during their career of rapping than they do as a podcaster. But
yeah, but a lot of them laughed at him. Now look at them following his steps. You know what I mean? So if anything, bro, instead of hating on him, man, try to holler at him and figure that shit out. Because if I had access to him, that's what I'd be doing. Bro, how you did this? You know, what's the play right here? How you handle the Patreon to make it jump like that? I'd be peeping game, you know, if I had the following and the name recognition that he had, then I could make some moves on them plays. But, you know, I'm smart right now, so this ain't the time. It's, you know, it's time to get put the thoughts in place, you know what I mean? But it ain't time to take action right now. So, but yeah, I be trying to get all the advice from him I can, because y'all jumping in his lane now and he running that bitch. So everybody's sacking to him right now, for real. And
how this goes, I think that this could be a case of the fourth quarter antics. I could see Camron trying to, you know, make things spicy or make things entertaining. And it is always entertaining when the biggest people clash, and Camron and Joe Budden are the biggest people in this field that have their own independent podcasts. Like, you look at Camron, he has It Is What It Is, but then he has the Talk to Flea or Talking with Flea pod, and that does really great numbers. And I think it's on Revolt. So he's just signing deals left and right, putting certain things together. And then you have Joe Budden's business model, who is also very successful. So both of these guys are really doing their thing. I mean, Joe's saying that he's making $1 million on Patreon. The New York Times verified it. And it's cool to see these people kind of matriculate past the rap stuff.
Yeah, Camron ain't making $1 million a month on with his 2 shows. And then if he is signed with Revolt, he still ain't doing what Joe Budden doing. Joe Budden doing some whole other shit. Like, a lot of people even tried to laugh at him when he first didn't sign back with Spotify and shit like that. You know, they thought he was fucking shooting himself in the foot, but nah, he played the long game. Sometimes you play the long game and you believe in your shit and yourself, you win, and he went in big. So salute to Joe Budden on that. Anyway, man, we gonna stop it right here, bro. I don't see nothing the way they talking about the actual Joe Budden podcast or by them not being friends. I don't see that right here. So y'all go check out the whole video on the Stops page. The link will be in the description as always, man. And also we got the merch in the description. I appreciate everybody that's been looking out for me, sending the PayPal donations, sending the Cash App donations. Good looking out, fam. We still a small channel trying to grow. So hit the like button, share, and subscribe to the channel. Tig Nitty Run the City, No Cap Rap News. Peace.